Hi, today I'm going to talk about filtering the washing fluids you use to clean your resin 3D prints. Hi, welcome to Gray Lightning, my video blog about making things and playing games. And I've been doing 3D resin printing for months now, and one of the problems I've run into that I haven't really solved to my satisfaction is the best way to filter the cleaning liquids you use on your prints. So I've been using multiple different types of resins and different types of cleaners. I've used water washable resin that I've cleaned with water. I've used Yellow Magic 7, which is like Simple Green, a different kind of cleaner. And then I've used, of course, isopropyl alcohol. In every case, you're left with cleaning fluid that has uncured resin in it. And we've all heard and seen how you can put that into a plastic bottle, sit it into the sunlight, and the resin inside of it will cure. But you're still left with then needing to filter that resin out so that you can dispose of the liquid safely. And some of the problems I've run into there is very slow filtering. Sometimes the filter paper tears, and sometimes, frankly, it just sits there in the funnel and doesn't filter at all. So I've gotten some feedback from some viewers that I've approached with this question, and based on that, today I'm going to unbox and test a vacuum filtration system using a Buchner funnel, and I'm going to cover that in this episode. So let's look at the parts of this vacuum filtration system. I bought everything that I'm going to be using today on Amazon. It was about $150 in total, about $50 for the pump that creates the vacuum and about $100 for this part in the box. So let's take a look. Now I'm told chemists use this all the time, a similar system, but I'm not a chemist, so this is all going to be new to me. So this is a tube, and I believe this is 3/8 inch. Yes, this is a 3/8 inch tube. And here's a flask, and the tube will hook to the pump here, and it will be here, and it'll create a vacuum in the flask, and that's what will suck the fluid down through the funnel and filter. And this is the Buchner funnel. It's ceramic. It has a flat bottom and with holes in it. And here's the filter paper, and the filter are flat discs that fit this funnel, and that's the system. So let's look at the pump. It's a Filtrate pump, Filtrate brand. And it comes with a 1/4 inch tube. Now, I had read enough to know that this might be an issue because the write-up for this kit said that there was a 1/4 inch sleeve that came with the kit. And all that 1/4 inch sleeve was a tiny piece of 1/4 inch tubing that was stuck inside of the 3/8 inch tube here. I didn't see how that was going to work, so I went ahead and bought this 1/4 inch hose barb that's a 1/4 inch on both sides. I pulled that little sleeve out, and I stuck one end of the barb into this tube, and I put the sleeve on this, and now I believe, yes, I can just push those two together. So I think this is going to work, so now we're going to test it. So before I get started, I want to point out that there was one other part in the box that I didn't see at first because it was dark and it was stuffed down a hole in the foam. But it's a very important piece. It's this plug that goes into the top of the flask with a hole in the center, and the funnel, of course, fits into the hole. So that's an important piece. So what I'm going to try to do now is just get this set up with the pump and make sure that I get a vacuum on it. And when I first got the flask out, there was this sleeve over this part here, this glass part. I think it was just to protect it because from breakage, so I just pulled that off, and I'll set that aside. And then to get this hose on, the 3/8 inch hose, I used the heat gun to soften up the end a little bit and pushed it on. And even with the heat gun, this is as far as I could get it. So we're going to see if that's good enough. Okay, so I've plugged in the pump, and I've taken the 1/4 inch hose here and plugged it into the pump. And now I'm just going to turn it on. We have a vacuum. One last piece of setup before I put on my gloves and my mask, and that is going to be trying to get the funnel into the flask. One of the complaints I've read online about the system that I've bought here is that this did not seal tightly. I feel like I should get the funnel to go all the way through the... I hope I don't break it. All the way through the stopper. Okay. Hopefully that's good enough. Now I'm going to get on the mask and the gloves. So what I'm using for my first test is water that I used with my water washable resin. And as I said, it's been sitting out in the sun. There's sludge in the bottom. And if you recall, I don't know if we can see there, but this is a flat-bottomed funnel. And here are the filters. So I've heard that when you put it in, you should pour in a little bit of the liquid you're using to seat that paper down. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the pump. Okay, I can hear the water hissing in there. Now, the vacuum should keep that paper sucked down in place. And because it's flat, I think it has a lot less stress on it than one of these funnels, the types of funnels I've been using with funnel paper, filter paper. So we'll see. It's also very important that the liquid in here in the flask never get up to the place where the vacuum pump is plugged in, because obviously it would suck it into the pump, and that would be a very bad thing. So that's one of the complaints about this system as well, is that in a lot of these flasks, this part is actually up on the neck here and less in danger of inhaling any liquid in the flask. So I've got quite a bit of liquid in here. The funnel is almost full. It's coming through. It's not coming through super fast. And in fact, it just got slower and slower as time went on. I took some shots here along the way to show you how much has drained out, how much is filtered through, and what the rate of the drip is. And, you know, this is better than nothing, but it's still incredibly slow. This took quite a few hours. Eventually the funnel was empty, and then I poured in the rest of the bottle, which was the sludge at the bottom, and it got even slower yet. So I decided to check the filter paper that came with the package, and this is what it says on the side. Sieve velocity, choker velocity. Now I'm not sure that's really a good translation, but it doesn't sound good. So I went on Amazon and I bought a package of 3 different levels of filtration filter paper. And I took the 3 boxes and I arranged them from slow to fast speed. And the grades were 2, 1, and 4, which really confused me too. So I went back to the Amazon listing and this is what I saw. I don't think I'm the only person who's been confused by this, but based on this description, grade 4, coarse retention, fast flow, for retaining coarse and gelatinous precipitates seems to be what I want. I used that to filter my next bottle and it was faster, but it was still kind of slow. My final takeaway is this. I really like the Buchner funnel and the flask. They're very stable. You can fill them up and let them sit unattended and not worry about it falling over. You definitely have to make sure you have the right filter paper, but even then it's not going to be a fast process. As for the pump, I'd love to have a more powerful one, but when I checked the pricing on more powerful ones, it was way too high. And finally, these 1/4-inch hose barbs worked well for me to connect these 2 components together. At this point, I feel like I've really worked my way through the basics of 3D resin printing. Now I can really turn my attention to design. If you're interested in that, please subscribe to my channel.